What's up, everyone? Justin here, back with a new series of videos for my channel. Let's talk about it. What is that? Let's talk about it. It's where I'll talk about movies, a lot of horror movies, some regular movies, action movies, stuff like that. So that's what Let's Talk About It is. On this first episode of Let's Talk About It, I'm going to talk about a great horror movie. Has a cult following to it. Back when it was made in 1986, it did not. The critics did not like it. Of course, the stupid Hollywood critics, a lot of them, especially in the 80s, I'm talking about movie critics, they did not like horror movies. They didn't like slashers. They bashed them. They killed them. They absolutely destroyed horror movies and did not like them. But guess what? Fuck them. Fuck the critics, because I love horror movies. I love a lot of them. A lot of classics from the 70s, 80s, 90s. Not that many good horror was made, really. So maybe Child's Play movies, Candyman, Scream series. That's maybe a few others. But the 90s was not a good decade at all, in my opinion, for horror. But this episode, Let's Talk About It, I'll be talking about the cult hit, a sequel, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, Part 2. It had some stuff in it that was definitely a throwback to Part 1, the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where Dennis Hopper's character, Lefty, I don't know if that was his name in the movie, but that's what he was called, where basically Lefty was a relative. I forget if he was a brother or uncle. He was a relative of Franklin, the guy in the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Franklin, the annoying guy that was in a wheelchair. So I'll be giving you some facts. So later on, I'll be talking about some facts about Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Maybe you never heard of these fun facts. But first, I'm going to just talk about the movie a bit. First off, Stretch. And this is just me. I'm not reviewing. This is not a review of the movie, even though it's a classic and I think it's great. It's a great horror movie. And it's a good sequel. Very different than the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It is a sequel, but it's a very different movie. It's a lot of dark humor. Some parts I definitely laughed in it when you probably shouldn't be laughing, but it just was so outrageous, dark humor, that I had to laugh. There were some damn funny parts in this. You could call this a comedy horror, I guess. But again, it's a lot of dark humor in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. But a lot of parts were funny. But also, holy fuck, a lot of parts were fucking insane. A lot of gore, blood, and just brutal. And just insanity. A lot of scenes were absolutely brutal. In particular, the DJ, EJ, he's called, is his name, I think. But, my God, his death scene where his head was bashed in with a fucking hammer over and over and over, that scene is absolutely brutal. Hard to watch. that scene I don't think was supposed to be funny. Even though his legs are shaking and flapping around, to me that was not funny. That was brutal and pretty hard to watch. I don't get grossed out by horror movies. When I was a kid, of course, I did, and a teenager. But this movie's Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 will fucking gross you out, I think. There's a lot of disturbing scenes in this movie. And going back to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the first one, fun fact, I didn't see it until 2000 and late 2006. I'd say in October. Was it 06? I think it was 06 or 07. I'll say 2006, I believe. October 2006 is the first time I decided to watch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And you might ask yourself, at home, watching this, wherever you're watching, thank you for watching. But why didn't I see it before 2006? It is a classic. I knew that. I knew it was a classic. I knew it just felt real. It didn't feel like a fucking movie watching it. It felt like these people were fucking real and insane and crazy fucking killers. I'll be honest, I didn't see it till 2006 because I was afraid to watch it. I didn't know what to expect. I was like, that was one of the only horror movies I never watched from the 80s before 2006. I've seen all the classics, all the gore, all the bloody horror movies from the 70s and 80s. But this Texas Chainsaw Massacre, this was different. And I watched it. I enjoyed the hell out of it. It's a great movie, great horror movie. But it still feels real. It feels like a documentary of just the camera following these young they're not teenagers, I doubt it. Like young adults in their 20s, and then the goddamn Leatherface family. It feels like not a movie. It feels like a fucking real event that could have happened in Texas. And all the stories, before I even saw the movie, I thought the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I thought it legit probably really could have happened in Texas. I don't know why I thought it could have. I was a naive kid, I guess. Or I thought the movie's based on, like, somebody doing that in Texas. Because in the beginning of the film, they say these events are true and real. Anyways, back to Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. Again, the head bashing with the hammer. Insane. That scene is one of the most vicious, violent, brutal death scenes, in my opinion, in horror movie history. That's way up there. And my goodness, Stretch, the actress, the woman that played Stretch, I gotta give her a shout out. I have to give her props. She was so fucking good. Caroline Williams. What a performance. My God, Caroline Williams. What a fucking performance. You get 2 thumbs up from me. 5-star performance. In my opinion, I would have gave her a fucking Oscar for that role, how she played it. But we all know fucking Hollywood and the Oscars never give respect to horror movies or the people in them. Just like Stretch, Caroline Williams, I would have gave her the the actress. I would have gave her the Oscar for Best Actress in a horror movie. Why isn't there a horror movie category? Fuck you, Oscars. Get a horror movie category. At least one for Best Actress and Best Actor. And like Best Villain in a horror movie. Horror movies make you fucking money, Hollywood. A lot of money they've made you. Even though you probably still look down on them. In 2023, Hollywood probably still looks down on horror. And they shouldn't. But they probably do. I will say horror is more mainstream now. And that's a good thing than it was definitely in the 80s. So Caroline Williams, what a fucking performance. I don't know if you're still acting, but you were awesome. You were great as Stretch. You will go down in horror movie history as one of the best final girls, for sure. She's up there. To me, Caroline Williams as Stretch is up there with Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode. Just what a final girl Stretch was. And thank God she lived at the end of the movie. They should have done a part 3. Texas Chainsaw Massacre part 3 with Stretch as the main role. But instead they didn't. I don't remember what part 3 was even about. It sucked. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 sucked. I think that's the one with Matthew McConaughey in it and Renee Zellweger. That is really odd they were in it. Because they were young actors. And look what they've gone on to win Oscars, I believe. Both of them. I don't know if Matthew McConaughey won an Oscar, but I think he did. I don't know. I'm not an expert on his career. But Caroline Williams, what a performance. You should have won an Oscar for playing Stretch. And I'm dead serious. The guy that, oh my God, the guy that played Leatherface was not Gunnar Hansen from the original. He was not the original Leatherface, but he did a damn good job. He did a damn good job. He was a different Leatherface. Look in his eyes, in his mouth, his eye movements, the look in his eyes. The guy actually acted through his eyes with a Leatherface mask on. So he did very good playing a different Leatherface, for sure. A Leatherface that kind of had some heart and felt sorry for Stretch. Because he didn't kill her. And he could have. Just more of the couple of scenes. Absolutely insane and brutal. Where Leatherface cuts off the face of the DJ, EJ. Cuts his face off with like a, I don't know what it's called, for cutting meat. Like an electric saw to cut meat. He cuts his goddamn face off. And he's holding it up. He finds Stretch hiding. Puts the fucking dead face. Actually, somehow, amazingly, EJ was still alive. I don't know how the fuck you'd still be alive after that. But he did pass away pretty quick. When Stretch found him and figured out, holy shit, you're EJ. I worked with you. You were my co-worker, and now I'm wearing your fucking face. Bloody face. Puts cowboy hat on top of her head, and then Leatherface starts spinning her around like he's dancing and at his prom, because, Leatherface never got to fucking go to a prom. But that was his prom. Putting a human face on Stretch and dancing with her. And spinning her around. Holy fuck, what a scene. That was hard to watch, and it was brutal. And my God, I felt so bad for Stretch, having to go through with that. I mean, the shooting of the movie was probably hard on her. It was probably a tough shoot, for sure. But she killed it. So then she's still wearing his face, and she realizes it's my friend EJ, my co-worker, and somehow this is pretty damn funny. Again, dark humor in the movie, but he's still spitting up loogies. He was spitting a lot in the beginning of the movie before he was killed and beaten with a hammer and had his head bashed in. As Joe Bob says, heads will roll, head bashing. Well, EJ got his head bashed in. And by you know who, Crop Shop, or whatever that, I forget his name, but Bill Moseley. I'll just say that. Crop Shop is his name, I think, in the movie. I don't want to mispronounce it, maybe I'm wrong, but Bill Moseley was fucking awesome in it. By the way, his character is a brother of the dead hitchhiker from part 1 that got ran over by the semi. Bill Moseley's character is, I believe, his brother, or he's related, because he's carrying around the dead hitchhiker's corpse. They saved his corpse, and he's carrying him around the whole movie just about. That's pretty damn funny also. But disturbing. And very disturbing scene, again, when Stretch has her friend's face put on her face. Holy fuck, I felt so bad for her. And then he's still spitting up loogies with his face, Skeletor, bones exposed, his ribs exposed. Shout out to Tom Savini, did the makeup and effects. He was awesome. He killed it. Great effects in this movie. Ahead of its time effects. For 86, these were damn good effects. Again, the DJ, his ribs are showing. Like he's had his skin cut off. His legs are showing skin. I'm not talking about this skin. I'm talking about under this skin. Like bones and flesh is showing. His face is like Skeletor. Bones and his flesh and blood. Great effects. Great fucking special effects and gore in this movie by Tom Savini. A legendary makeups and effects artist for horror. So that scene was insane where she had to wear her friend's fucking face on her face. Just, this movie is sick. A lot of parts of it. Another scene where Leatherface with his chainsaw gets it like stuck in the ice. Where Stretch is sitting on top of the ice with her legs spread. That scene is insane. It's sick. It's insane, but it is captivating. And when I first saw it, I just watched it like 2 days ago. Also, I just watched it again. Still, with her legs spread, the scene is absolutely captivating, mesmerizing. I had my eyes glued on the screen. And Stretch is, I guess, trying to get him to not kill her with the damn chainsaw right in between her legs. She starts trying to talk dirty to him. That was sick. Whoever came up with that in the script and put it in, that is a sick person. Starts talking dirty to Leatherface, saying, "Are you good? Or I bet you're good. Give it to me." Stuff like that. Then he gets his saw out of the ice and he starts going like this with the saw, like he's about to fucking bust a nut in his pants because he's getting turned on. But then he puts a saw up by her privates. Insane scene. Very good scene. Will go down in horror history. Great scene. And then Leatherface actually starts moving like he busted a nut and came. And then he goes like that with the saw, dances, runs out of the room. Poor Stretch is screaming her head off. She probably lost her voice doing that. For sure, she had to lose her voice doing all that damn screaming. I don't know how some women in these horror movies can scream so loud. That's a skill, because I could never scream that loud. But then he runs out of the room. Stretch again is screaming. She looks at him like, what the fuck are you doing? What's wrong with you? And he starts moving the saw like he's effing her with the saw. And then he runs away, destroys the radio studio, runs away. They take EJ in the truck, drive off to their fucking compound, their fucking meat-killing, torture compound. And then Stretch follows them. Dennis Hopper, Lefty, was supposed to show up and help her. He was late. He didn't show up and help her. She could have been killed. What the fuck, Lefty? You didn't show up on time, so Stretch drives and follows them to the fucking compound. You shouldn't have done that, Stretch. But thank God at that. And another great scene before I talk about the end. When they bring out, or before that, when Dennis Hopper's character finds Franklin dead, bones in the damn wheelchair. Still has a flashlight with him. That is a great throwback to part 1. And he sees Franklin again. Another great scene in the movie. Sees Franklin and he's like, Franklin, my brother. And he almost breaks down seeing Franklin. Turns his flashlight on. The flashlight goes out. That was great. How the light just burned out. And nobody lived. Oh, actually, from part 1, the original, somebody did live. The final girl, Marilyn Burns. She lived. She got away in the truck. I don't know why I thought nobody lived, but the girl did. Marilyn Burns. Sally. She got away, thank God. And holy fuck, Sally, Marilyn Burns looked like she was tortured making that movie, and I don't think she hardly made anything off it. Very sad. I hope Stretch got paid well for this movie, but who knows. Dennis Hopper probably got paid millions for joining the cast, because he was kind of a big star. Dennis Hopper. He was an Easy Rider, then I don't know what happened to his career, but he was in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, and I guess Dennis Hopper in interviews has said he hated making Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. That is one of his worst made movies, up there with Super Mario Brothers. Well, I like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. I like Dennis Hopper's performance, and I liked him in Super Mario Brothers also, from 92. But he said he hates those movies. And I guess he just did them for that. I guess he couldn't get hired in anything else. So he just took the money and work. Good for him, I guess. I don't know why you take a movie if you hate the experience and hate being in it. Why would you even accept it? I guess for that. Just for that. So after he finds Franklin dead, bones in the wheelchair, then another great scene, they bring out fucking Grandpa looking creepier, older, more decrepit, like a creepy old bastard than ever. He's licking his lips. He's getting turned on by trying to bash in, stretch his head. Her head's over the bucket, I guess, to catch all the blood. He can't even hold the hammer because he looks about 150 years old. He keeps dropping the hammer over and over. Then actually, he finally hits her on the damn head. And Grandpa's getting turned on. They do a close-up into his eyes. Holy fuck, I didn't need to see that. That was sick and creepy. This movie's insane. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is insane. It's worth a watch. There's a lot of sick, dark humor in it. Again, Leatherface probably busted in his pants and got turned on. The only movie ever in the Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise is probably the only movie ever where he got turned on and busted a nut in his fucking pants. This, my goodness. What can I say? I've said it all. This movie's insane. Very insane. And sadly, the director, Tobe Hooper, when it came out, and I guess it didn't do that well at the box office, and fans hated it, or some hated it, I'm sure. But he didn't understand, and he was sad. He was upset why the fans could not see the dark humor in it. But now it's like a cult film, for sure. It has a cult following. Some have said they like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 better than the original. I'm not one of them. The original is the best. But part 2 is awesome because of Stretch and the dark humor. Now let's talk about some fun facts. Behind the scenes facts about the crazy Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Horror host, Joe Bob Briggs. The guy's great. I love his show where he talks about horror movies and just talks about them on Shudder. And he talked about them before Shudder, long before it. Joe Bob was actually in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, but his scenes were cut because the movie is way too long, and the studio, I think, is canon. They had to cut a lot of scenes of his and a few other deleted scenes because they thought the movie is way too long and too gory and too bloody. But Joe Bob actually gets killed in it, I believe, by Leatherface. I did not see that deleted scene yet, but I should find it on YouTube. And fun fact, the poster for there's part of the poster in the middle, right there, the poster. Fun fact, they were doing the poses of the movie The Breakfast Club, from the Breakfast Club poster. Well, that was like a rip-off of it, and that's pretty damn funny. And there's a picture of Joe Bob here because, again, he was in the movie. But he was cut out because I guess it was too long. So here's a fact. It was originally a Motel Hell parody. I never heard that before. But it was, I guess, or could have been a Hotel Hell parody. Motel Hell parody. But again, I think it was damn original. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is really an original movie. And my God, there's a scene, Caroline Williams. Great scene. Had to be a tough fucking scene to shoot and a tough movie for her to shoot. Caroline Williams is a Stretch. It says her audition. Here's another fact. Her audition was extreme. She wanted to make such a good impression in her audition that she went above and beyond the Call of Duty. When she was performing her audition, she went to the back of the hall in the audition room and she was screaming at the top of her lungs. Then she entered the room and Gunnar Hansen was supposed to play Leatherface. But they fucking wanted to rip him off and not pay him enough. Or get him real cheap. But he didn't. Sadly, Gunnar Hansen did not play Leatherface. But I guess he's part of the auditions because he thought he was going to be in it. I don't know. But she had a insane audition. She was very dedicated to it. That's probably why she got the role. Gunnar Hansen, another fact, did not play Leatherface again because of a contract dispute. He says that he claimed that they offered him scale plus 10%. And with the 10% going to his agent, so he went to made a penny, I guess. And Gunnar Hansen told Cannon he had no agent. And they took back the 10% from his contract offer. And Gunnar felt that was way too low and passed on the role. But Bill Johnson played Leatherface, and he was really good. Again, it's a different Leatherface than the original. The original was absolutely brutal, felt real, and was a really tough shoot. Gunnar Hansen only had one suit to wear. He kept wearing it. I think the shoot was like 20 a month shoot. Really quick. But he was sweating, stinking in that hot Texas heat. He had to keep wearing the same dirty suit over and over. My goodness. That's sucked for him, I'm sure. Another fun fact on Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, the original. It was originally, not the original, but it was originally rated X. It was it was given a rated X when it was submitted to the MPAA, and it forced Toby Hooper and Cannon to release an unrated cut of the movie in the United States. I don't know if they had the uncut version on Max, was where I just watched it, but I did rent it years ago. Like, when video stores were around, I rented Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, and I think it was uncut. I don't know. But anyways, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like the original, was banned in many countries for some reason. Because it had heavy gore. A lot more blood and gore than the original. The original had none. None. It was not a bloody movie. It was disturbing and just disturbing. I guess violent too, you could say. But Part 2 was banned in multiple countries in 1986. The Australians banned it and deemed it offensive and outright refused to release the film. What the fuck's wrong with Australia? I don't know. They had a bug up their fucking ass in the 80s for banning horror movies. England did too. UK with their video nasty list. What the fuck was wrong with them? Trying to ban movies. Some horror movies might be offensive to some people. Well, just don't fucking watch then. Don't watch if you don't like horror and blood and gore. You don't gotta watch it. But also, you don't gotta fucking be a bitch and report the movie to your government. Probably what people did in those countries that didn't like it. But anyways, the excuse is violent movies, horror movies, and violent video games cause children or teens to act out violently and become murderers and killers. Well, guess what? I saw my first horror movie when I was 4 years old. I shouldn't have been seeing it. A Nightmare on Elm Street. I don't know what part it was. Might have been the original. But again, I saw my first horror movie at 4 years old. And I have played violent video games growing up into my teens, and I still play them. And guess what? And I still love horror, and I still love violent video games. And guess what? And I love horror, gory, violent horror games. And guess what? I'm not a killer. I'm not a murderer. I have zero thoughts ever about hurting someone because of a movie I watched or a video game I played. If you think that way, you can't blame the entertainment industry or movies or video games. You can't. If you do dumb shit and become a killer, that's on you. And you're a dumbass if you decide to do that shit. Again, we can enjoy violent movies and violent video games and be normal. Because guess what? They're entertainment. They're fantasy. It's not real. It's not real violence. It's not real murdering of people. It's fake. It's fantasy. And I'll say to the end of time, till I go in the grave, that violent movies, horror movies, violent games are entertainment, in my opinion. So then, after Australia got it banned, Australia banned it for more than 20 fucking years. That's ridiculous. How stupid. The film was also banned in West Germany in '86 until it could be released in theaters in 2012. The film spent another 4 years before having the ban lifted in Germany. So Bill Moseley, how has he landed the role? He landed the role when he made a short film, because he was such a fan of the original. He made a short film entitled The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, in which he played a version of one of the family and his character. Moseley then showed the short to a screenwriter who gave it to Tobe Hooper, and he put him in the damn movie. There's another fact. The director of Bloodsport was brought on board. When Cannon realized production on the film was going over long, they brought in longtime director to ensure. They fucked with Tobe Hooper a lot. Stretch said, Caroline Williams said they fucked with the movie a lot, cut it down, cut out scenes. Probably was too long. If it was close to 2 hours, that's too fucking long for some horror movies. But I even watched a deleted scene the other day where Leatherface popped out of a van in like a parking lot from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Again, it's a deleted scene. He pops out of a van with the saw and just kills a whole bunch of like gang members that are beating on a car and rioting. He kills a whole bunch of them. It was pointless to the story of the movie. It was pretty pointless. There were like arms and legs flying all over the place. It was pretty funny though. But he again ensured Tobe Hooper deliver the film schedule. He was hired to oversee the entire production, that the film went smoothly. So, more facts. There's a ton of deleted scenes. In a 2000 documentary, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Shocking Truth, Tobe Hooper had to delete several gory scenes from the final edit to give the film a better pace. Among them were the Sawyer family hunting expedition and going after people. The scene involves Sawyer's going on a nighttime hunt for prime meat, which they find a whole bunch of rioters, and then they butcher them all. That was pretty funny shit when I saw that deleted scene. Another fun fact, again, Joe Bob's film debut was cut. I know he's been in other movies, Casino, and I don't know what else, but Joe Bob, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is his first movie. I didn't know that. He loved the original. I believe he calls it one of the greatest movies ever made, I think, and I agree with him. It was well made for the budget they had. The music in it, the original, the scenery, just great. So, anyways, Joe Bob, American horror critic, TV host of Monster Vision, Shudder, Last Drive-In. He was in it, but his scenes were cut but they can be found in a 2007 Gruesome Edition DVD. Joe Bob Joe Bob Briggs is not his real name. Want to find out his real name, you can look it up. Joe Bob played Gozer, movie goer in the film, one of several customers who is slaughtered on their prime heat, prime heat hunt. More facts. There's a bunch of Easter eggs hidden in the movie. Maybe on a DVD, I don't know. It says a slew of fun-filled Easter eggs can be spotted. At the radio station, there's a poster for the group. Fine Young Cannibals can be seen. So can the Beatles poster. Girlsly and controversial butcher cover version of Yesterday and Today. So when Lefty goes shopping for a chainsaw on the wall lines, that was a great scene too. Leatherface trusty weapon from the original was on the wall, I guess. Also, Toby Hooper makes a brief cameo in the film as a frisky party goer. So there are the facts. There's probably more, I'm sure. Anyways, I'm getting a phone call on my phone, but my show's over. Hope you enjoyed. Let's talk about it. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. I give it 5 stars. I just put up 10 stars, but 5 stars. 2 thumbs up. Great fucking movie. The critics that bashed it and hated it, fuck them. They can go to hell. And again, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 was great. I'm getting a phone call again. I gotta go in a minute, but I'm such a horror fan, I thought I'd share. Good. I got a voicemail from this person. Anyways, I gotta go in a second. But again, I'm such a horror fan. Let me show you some of my horror movies collection. I don't know if you consider Ghostbusters a horror, but it kind of is. There's a 3-pack of Ghostbusters, 1 and 2, and Afterlife. The soundtrack, great. I love this movie and I love this soundtrack. It is great. Check that out. Return of the Living Dead soundtrack. Stains the Sands Red. Night of the Animated Dead. What else I got? I got so many, but I can't show them all. I'd be here forever. It remake. Damn good. Child's Play. Blu-ray. This is a damn good underrated horror movie. Trick. I'm surprised they never tried to make a Trick 2. They could have. Halloween 2018. Very good. One of the Annabelles. I don't know if this came out before the other Annabelle I have, but there it is. 2 Annabelles. Annabelle Creation. And Annabelle Comes Home. Or maybe there's a 3rd Annabelle. I'm not sure, but I own that also, and I've yet to watch it. I gotta watch it soon. And of course, I have the original Halloween, Halloween 2, Halloween 3, all the Nightmare on Elm Streets, all the Friday the 13th. I've seen them all. I own them all. I got a ton more movies that are horror, but I can't share them all here. Hope you enjoyed the Let's Talk About It Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Bye for now, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the show.